Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming together for the December SHAC meeting. This is the second of our 4 required meetings for the year, unless something comes up and we have something different that we need to discuss. This will we'll still keep with our same 4 this this that we're required to do this year. We have had a couple let us know that they will not be present today. Dr. Beaver at the high school and Mr. Bill Irvin has children that are performing today at the art show. And so I said, Daddy's got to go see his kids. I tell him, don't worry about it. So we don't have any new people at our meeting today, so that's great. Mr. Irvin will be here. He's thinking 5:30 as well. We have had our minutes approved. Oh, can we go ahead and go through the motions of approving the minutes from the last October meeting?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Want to give you a quick update on the Wellness Point collaboration with Pine Tree to create the school-based clinic. We had to go back and forth with the board a couple of times to make sure that we had a good understanding of what the clinic can and cannot, will and will not do. There was quite a bit of discussion with the board about the clinic's capability of performing abortions. It's not, it was never part of the process. It was not a consideration, and the facility cannot perform those operations. I did want to make you aware of it because there was quite a bit of controversy, and I have learned quite a bit about reproductive actions in Texas because of this. I've just learned a whole lot. But because it came up, I want you to know that that is not even a possibility. We've also decided that we will not distribute contraceptives of any type to a child without parental, not only parental consent, but parental presence. Okay, but things are moving along quite well. They're still on target to start to open in the spring. Still thinking it'll be right at the beginning of February, but things are going really well. I did also find out that they have secured already a therapist for our district, and that is really exciting. They have also have secured a PA, and I do believe the PA is bilingual. So we are really, really ready to go.
Is the therapist mental health?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Exactly. And the thought they'll have a office here in the PACE, actually on the what do they call that wing? Support services. So they'll have an office, a proposed office there, as well as the former administration building on the high school campus. But most of their times will be spent around visiting students.
Now, will those 2 sites be where the actual clinic is considered to be?
No, the clinic itself is just at the corner of Fairmont and
Northwest.
And Northwest, right there at the corner of the high school.
The regional administration building was.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Now they'll have
is that still a sub-police station?
They've given the building back to us.
Oh, okay.
It was leased to them, and
Okay.
they've returned it back to us.
And so that building will be our clinic. Well, that's
Yes, ma'am.
perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
And there was also a question about the clinic that is currently in operation by Wellness Point on 281. That clinic let me back up. This collaboration has been in the works for about 2 years. And we've been waiting for this great opportunity to arise. In the meantime, Pine Tree area had already been identified as a hotspot, if you will, a location that was in need of health services. And so while we were waiting for this opportunity to manifest, Chad Jones, the CEO of Wellness Point, moved ahead with the clinic there. Well, wonderful, we got the clinic, but that one was already in the works just in case we didn't get them. So there are no plans to close down the clinic on 281. It's still a women's and child center, I believe. But the convenience of having another clinic in our district for our kids, it is for the community, but I'd like to think of a preferential for our kids.
Yeah.
Any other questions that I might be able to answer about updates on?
Are they gonna do like athletic physicals in that clinic? With
Working
them?
on it.
Okay. that would
Working
be
on
great.
it.
That would
Yes,
be great
sir.
to do because
Working
new-
on it.
New kids, I can be like, hey, you can go right out
Yes,
there.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
We are working on it.
That would be
I think
great.
Bear Hill hit me up with that when we first started talking about it.
That would be great. We struggled with that at the end of the year.
So I've heard. So
Yes.
keep on me just in case it slips off. But no, sir, we talked about it, and the convenience and the availability of it was
Yes.
a big thing
That'd be
because
great.
not all doctors would do it or something
Yes,
like
and
that.
this year, unlike any other year, because of everybody being sick, those walk-in clinics, they would be like, well, we can't see you for 3 hours or
Mhm.
4 hours. And so they would actually have to make an appointment instead of being a true walk-in
Uh-huh.
clinic, which was kind of inconvenient for some of our kids and their parents because they couldn't wait that long.
Right.
So they'd either have to leave and come back, or, you know, they may have to wait another day
So
to
this
get
will
it
be
done.
good.
It'd be perfect. So it would be perfect.
Good deal. Good deal. And if you think of other things regarding the clinic, just let me know. I'm going to hand the floor over to Nurse Whitney, and she's going to kind of review how the vision, hearing, and spinal screenings have gone this year.
Okay, so, with Pine Tree and with the public school district, we have, mandated by the state hearing and vision and spinal screening that we have to complete. With our vision and hearing, it's every student who is in pre-K, kindergarten, first, third, fifth, and seventh grade students, and then any student who is new to the district. So with that, I set up with my nurses a week, and I go and I help our campus nurses screen all of the students who fit that criteria. And then there's also screenings throughout the year for special education, preschool programs for children with disabilities, speech referrals, and classroom referrals, as if the teacher's like, this student seems to be complaining of headaches, this student seems to be struggling, I have to move the student up to the front of the room and it's still not helping. And so we'll get their vision or hearing completed, and if they do fail, we send a referral home with the parent guardian, which is very helpful because then they can take that with them to the doctor to show, hey, they did indeed fail the vision here at the school, and so they're able to implement classes. And with that, if they need assistance, we do have, through the National Association of School Nurses, we get VSP vouchers that we can use if they qualify for assistance. So we don't use the Lions Club, we use NASN, which is who I'm a member of. This year we have screened 2,158 for vision and 2,148 for hearing. With our spinal screenings, it's girls that are in grades 5th and 7th, and then 8th grade boys students. The total number that we've screened for that is 540. I do want to touch on our office visits too. So within the school district, from the beginning of the school till now, today, we have seen 6,608 students in the nurse's office.
Wow.
On all campuses.
I think they offer them candy, or I think they get a frequent flyer ticket. I get a punch every time they come by.
We do. We really do. We offer them candy. So we have a nurse on each campus. We have one at each of our schools, and then myself, the lead nurse. I have recently moved to the PACE ABU campus, and so I'm able to help alleviate and see the students over there that have needs, medical health needs. So it's been real great to have somebody over there. But that's all for me.
How's the district COVID numbers compared to this time
We
last
are
year?
not going to speak that into existence. I'm just kidding. We are really good right now. This week we've seen a spike.
And by spike, I will say 5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 to 6.
Because there was about 2
It was-
weeks, 3 weeks in there
Yeah,
where we had none.
we were 0. So
Mhm.
we had a little spike. So about 5 people right now. And we don't know because it's ever changing. I expect a little spike when we come back from the holidays, but hopefully we come back and we just keep moving and grooving.
I honestly expected more at Thanksgiving.
I did
And
too.
then some of those in those numbers, those are siblings.
Yes, yes.
Well, in comparison just to last year though, year to year, it's
It's not.
Oh, it's.
There's no
There's
comparison.
no comparison.
There's no comparison.
Are we seeing any flu?
I've not seen any flu yet. I've seen strep, and there's been a nasty little stomach
Primary
bug.
Stomach bug is,
My
yeah.
grandson had the flu last
Oh,
week.
okay, so flu at the, okay.
At
It's
this-
starting to come in.
at-
Primary.
At
Okay.
primary?
He's a kindergartner. He had the
Okay.
flu last week,
Okay.
which is great. It wasn't COVID.
Yeah, I know.
It's a shame you have to.
It wasn't categorized all as COVID, so,
Right,
you
that's
know,
why I was asking, because I was,
you
yeah,
know,
I know it's
bad
that
when we go,
time to
"Woo-hoo,
start
the
getting.
flu."
Well, maybe, we'll see some. I've not,
We're not hoping for children to get
No, no.
sick.
No,
Get
no, I
sick.
don't, I would rather, I don't want anybody to get sick, but that came out so wrong,
Right.
just kidding. Moving on, no, but
No, it's all good.
so far overall, there's no comparison to last year, whereas flu, strep, or COVID, even our strep is down this year so far,
So far.
Good.
so.
Any other general questions for Nurse Whitney, because she too has a little one that needs her attention. Did I give you one of these?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll explain what it is tomorrow.
Perfect.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you so much.
Okay, one of the things that came up at, one of the schools that we haven't really talked about is, parents bringing food in, not just for their child, but for multiple children.
You mean at lunch?
Yes. And that's been a concern because we have so many allergies that are, and under the Texas nutrition policy, it was set forth that we didn't mandate anything what a parent could brought for their student, but we didn't allow that parent to bring it for anybody else. And that's what we need to decide on as a district, what we want to do in, in that situation, because we're having junior high, high school and everything, they're bringing, pizza parties in the dining room and, just all their friends. So it's a concern because, you wanna be nice and bring everybody food, but in this day and age with the
I was thinking
tremendous allergies,
allergies.
I think our best course is to limit that you can provide it for your child, but you're not allowed to bring it for somebody else's child.
Is there a way to do something to where, I just hate to see it, and because my grandkids are at the younger age to take complete fun out of it. Is there a way that we could come up with something to where like a parent could give consent to it? Because I know like there's, if it's Jillian's best little friend or something and it's her birthday, and they were coming to eat lunch with them or something and
And-
go through Chick-fil-A.
A few years ago, I don't know if it's the same, but at the middle school, if a parent brought food, they could have others share it with other students if that student's parents had already given permission.
That's what I'm thinking.
Junior high and high school, I think they're old enough to know what allergies they
Yeah,
have.
that's true.
Well, hold on, because I don't think it's going to, I don't think it will release us from responsibility. I agree, but we have kids who are diabetic, who still do things that they're not supposed to do, and they're kids. This is my concern, is the liability, and yes, I'm always the doomsday prepper. Yes, it's the liability that, and kids are not going to be honest. If their friends are having pizza and they know they have a dairy allergy, if their friends have it, they're gonna want it. The other part of it is with notes, I'm wondering how logistically do you keep up with that? You got 3 or 4 kids that, for whatever reason, today is Dia de los Muertos, and so they have things that they're bringing from home for kids that they want to share.
So how did you
It
do
just
that?
scares me.
At the middle school, the principal or whoever was in the
It had to
cafeteria.
be arranged ahead of time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they took ownership of that. But
Yes.
in these cases,
I get what you're saying, that maybe at the junior high school level, cause obviously teenager, you're not, but middle school
well,
down.
we're even talking, I'm talking from pre-K up.
Yeah.
This needs to be in our
Wellness.
wellness guidelines, because I went through the student handbook and all of this, and there is a conflict in the
Mm.
student handbook with the wellness guidelines
Mm.
that we will have to get addressed, for this upcoming school year about celebrations, all grade levels. When we have celebration guidelines only of pre-K through fourth.
So are you talking about the what is it?
No, I'm not talking about the non-nutrition, what you would normally consider a
Okay.
non-nutritional day.
Okay.
I'm talking about celebration guidelines, the district put in the wellness guidelines that only celebrations from pre-K through fourth grade. And those items will have to be prepackaged and given to the students at the end of the day to be sent home. So the parent has an opportunity to look at those, and take care of any allergies at that point. We're not talking about, Christmas parties and different things like that, because the teacher takes responsibility of what's brought into their classroom to address any allergies.
So this is like if somebody brought something for
This
a
is,
birthday.
they show up, they call
or-
mama and say, Mama, I want Chick-fil-A, and Chick-fil-A shows up and they bring it for everybody and their friends with no pre-planning. This is just something that, or they're calling,
Is this at the
Grub
lunchtime
Hub.
or is this outside of school? Because
No.
No,
Those
it's
are
school,
time.
no, it's school time.
I have
Okay.
no control outside of school.
Because as far as athletics goes,
not that.
one parent brings it for several kids that have a game that evening
No,
or
no,
something
no.
like
This,
that.
after school, all bets are off.
No
This is-
liability in that at
No.
all. Okay.
It always makes me nervous.
Mhm.
It always makes
But
me
you
nervous.
know that happens all.
Of course,
yeah.
I
Teammates,
knowing
especially
it
their
and
parents.
That's been happening
knowing it
since
and
you
giving you
were-
permission for them are two different
Yes,
things.
yes, I got you,
Oh,
I
and
got
I
you.
did it, I had two band girls and,
Oh, yeah.
they were at Longview Vuettes, majorettes and band
Oh,
and,
yeah.
so I dealt with all of that too, but we're talking about
During the
during
lunch,
school.
I got you.
during school.
During school, not just lunch,
Not just
Yes,
school.
and Teresa's right, middle school took care of it because of, you had to pre-plan it.
Mhm.
It was not, you weren't gonna show up today, and junior high is the one that brought this up this year, and she was, they
What's
were,
the difference between them bringing their lunch and sharing, between dropping off?
There is no difference, I mean, it's just
How are you gonna?
it's what we allow versus, we don't allow kids to run in the hall, but they do. I mean, so the rule, it's what the rule is versus, the only other thing that concerns me is if we need the input from the campuses, because if we're gonna say, then they're going to check everybody in, so they have to have pre-arrangements for things to be brought in.
no, I
As
think
a
it needs to go
principal,
before the.
don't tell me what we're gonna do, and I don't know, I may be
Right.
short in my
No,
office,
no,
or,
but
you know
the
what I'm
ad-
saying?
Yeah, the admin meeting and to bring this up, but, this came from, one of the schools, so it's
And what is
something
that, what do
we
they
can
wanna
try-
do? What is?
She wanted to pick it up and throw it in the trash.
But is that more because at that level, you're in a mass and those kids can sit wherever and they've got pizza everywhere and all the kids are flocking and it was more of a,
It could be,
Yeah.
I can't speak to what their,
cause I know.
All of these
middle school
scenarios
down,
are
It's a lot more
real.
controlled than in the lunch setting, than it is junior and high school.
I just wouldn't want anybody bringing food that my kid would eat without me knowing. But ignore the allergy part, somebody brings a bunch of pepperoni pizza and a Muslim kid eats a pepperoni
True.
pizza, wait till you hear from the parents on
True.
that.
well,
That is true.
and the thing is, we have different students, we've got one that's got PKU where he can't, process
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
protein.
yeah.
And somebody brings pizza, I mean, that's a detriment to,
Yes, I will.
serious health
Mhm.
issues. We had one, on the, allergy on the computer that has lactose intolerant, we won't let them, get through with milk, we've got it, but grandma got up and we refused to get, ice cream to this child, and grandma went over there and got it and took it to the child. It's like, okay, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
This was the family's grandma, the kid that was lactose intolerant, grandma? Whoa.
And then we had to put more in place because our volunteer that was giving out ice cream,
They don't
Well,
know.
yeah, she's not nice.
she didn't know, and you know, we
And
have.
you shouldn't have to worry about an adult purchase.
We're,
But
we're
I'm
trying to
told
follow
it's-
what
For their-
the parent.
Yeah,
did.
cause you have to know, that was grandmother, and there's sometimes conflict, I mean, it just
So,
opens up
you know,
a lot.
we put the kibosh on the lady with the ice cream, so it won't happen that way, but we're fighting that battle, you know, in that way, they're having lunch with them, and it's like, you're lactose, but it doesn't, and her thing was, I told you to get sherbet. I'm like, if I could just get everything, that would be wonderful, but we're so, I mean, you've been to the grocery stores,
Oh,
things
yeah.
are
Yeah.
scarce.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
You know, in a perfect world, I would get you sherbet for your child, but that's not possible, but you can't go across that. That's another soapbox, but it's, yeah. And I'm not
Well,
trying to take the fun out of.
No, and I
the
think it's
children.
totally different, because going to what he said, at this younger age, that was something like, in her case, she would like ask, like, I want someone, Peyton, for example, to eat lunch with me, and we want Chick-fil-A, because the parents had already talked and said, so,
They have to sign, yeah.
I mean, but like to say, you know, will Peyton eat lunch with Jillian
And
on her
that's true,
birthday?
yeah.
And so that's a totally different scenario, where I wasn't thinking of a junior high school kid calling a delivery service and having somebody
Well,
bring
and
pizza.
I think at the junior high, it got so bad that they stopped that,
Mhm.
that they were getting so many
Yeah.
deliveries
Yes.
from the delivery services, but this is parents coming in, bringing it in,
Yeah,
and.
However it gets there, it's still no different, I
It's
mean.
circumventing that, the
Right.
delivery part of it, but, you know, it's, you know, we need to at least bring it up and talk about it.
So, he's not here, but have there ever been discussions with Mr. Irvin about what he thinks is just the safety concern of parents coming in during lunches, just period?
Say that again, please?
Safety concerns of just parents coming in, period.
Well, they come in, we use Raptor to.
Yeah, no, I get that, but
I
just
don't
like, just
understand.
them being in the space with all the other kids regardless of Raptor.
They're not there unsupervised.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
no, I
They're-
know.
I do
Okay,
it regularly,
help-
don't you take
keep
that
going,
away.
keep going, I haven't gotten to you.
I know it's not just them hanging out with the rest of the students and all the teachers leave, you know? I know they're supervised, but it's just, I don't
No,
Yeah,
'cause
that's
it's
a
a
know.
great
I've done youth
Yeah,
sports
don't
and I
take-
see
don't
some of
take
those
away me
parents
getting
is
lunch
like,
with
I
my
don't care if
grandmother.
they've had Raptor or not, I don't want them anywhere near me.
Oh, well, now, we can't deny a person,
Yeah.
you know, entry to Sydney with their kid,
Yeah.
no matter if they got
Right.
tattoos or.
Well, and they
No,
take
raggedy
our
or
picture,
dirty
we have
or-
to give our driver's
No, nice
license,
people, that's true.
and I have to
Yeah,
wear a
that is true,
badge.
that is true.
Well, I'm with you
So, I
on
mean,
right
they're,
there, and I'm.
they have to
I
buzz
want
us
to
in,
buzz.
and this is at Birch, so.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
they should all be like
Yeah,
that.
so, I mean, there's a lot of safety protocols in place, I never feel,
Well, what I mean by it, and this, again, he's not here, but.
But
Would he feel it's just an unnecessary thing? Like, does it add more positively to the students than the potential for any sort of risk? With
About having visitors on
having
campus.
extra adults around, yeah.
Well, we didn't
Non-school
do it
adults.
during COVID because of COVID,
Yeah.
but that was something that the whole administration.
Yeah.
including
Oh, well,
the
we didn't have a
superintendent,
choice.
were
We didn't have a
ready
choice.
to give them back.
well, and he,
Yeah,
Mr.
that
Logan
is
even
true.
put out a thing saying,
We
well,
wish we
we're
could.
glad to have
Yeah.
our parents and
I
stuff
think
back on
that
campus.
the positivity outweighs.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
Seeing parents, moms and dads and grandparents eating with the kids, because the other kids, even though that you're not actually,
They encourage
eating with
parental
them.
involvement. in
Some of
I
them
will
be
tell you,
right.
behavior is
Yeah.
better when we have parents on campus, even if it's not the kid's parent most of the time.
yeah.
Well, and there's some
Um,
of us that are on there for multiple reasons. I do literacy army, so I was on there today reading with kids.
Oh, yeah,
We
volunteer
have the
stuff,
watchdogs, you know, that are.
But but back to, I don't think, and Mr. Irvin will be here in a minute, and I do safety and security as well. I don't think I have any, concerns about having people on campus.
Yeah.
Especially since we use Raptor. Our staff has been trained, if you don't have a badge, you need to stop them, whoever they are, even if it's a staff member. They are never left alone with students, and that is emphatically, implemented, and so, I would say no.
I'm just curious what he would say. That's
Mhm. Well, he'll-
No, I don't necessarily feel that way, I'm just curious what he would have thought about it.
Well, I can tell you, I mean, I get a lot out of it, even because kids run up and hug me that aren't my grandkids.
Yeah.
They just love seeing, as to your point.
You're just a grandma.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
that,
mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
You're a big lady that can give love.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
Big lady,
give out a
give me
lot.
love.
Yeah, and they'll holler, Jillian, your grandma's here, and then they're all running up and hugging me, so, yeah.
But let's ask Mr. Irvin when he gets in. I text him. Do you want is this for just discussion? We're not.
This is for next year.
Okay.
This is not something that I want to change right now. I just want to bring up the
For us to be
discussion.
thinking
sorry.
about.
To be
Having
thinking, because,
policy for
you know,
next
we would have to change the student handbook, we would have to add it to our wellness, guidelines, and so it's just
And that's a good thing.
discussion on the thought process with that.
And I
then-
bet you we can come up with a good,
Me too.
And I would
Answer
love
for
to
that.
hear what the campuses wanna do.
Mhm.
So, you know, I don't want to.
And there might be a system that we come up with. This is how
Yeah.
we're going to do it, a procedure that is consistent across the district.
well, and I'm thinking, like what you were saying with the parties even, you know, the teachers know as far as allergies and stuff goes. So, I know at least at this level, most of the
Most
kids
of
that
them.
they're gonna wanna eat with, they're gonna be another little child in there. Cause, you know, when we come eat with them, we get to sit at a different table.
Mhm.
And so the teacher's gonna know if there's, but like I said, in our case, anytime that's ever came up, we've always made contact with the other family because you wanna find out what that child wants, if it's going to McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or.
And that might, and it sounds like that would be part of the process, or it should be,
Right.
if we do it.
Absolutely.
No parent, you shouldn't give anything to a child without a parent.
Yeah, you wouldn't want
knowledge.
somebody,
If there's
even though
something
I
like
don't
you
think
said,
anybody
the
would
parents
be
sign off
Yeah.
on
thinking
liability.
nefarious,
so.
I just don't think it would, I wouldn't want them bringing something, you know, without you knowing
Mhm.
that your child was gonna be eating
And
something
remember,
different.
these could be homemade goods as well.
Yes.
These
And-
could be home cooked.
Which is a very
just-
big reason for
it-
parents to know.
all of them, yeah.
There's a
Yes.
variety of substances that can go into home
Right,
baked
and
goods.
that goes back to our celebrations in the student handbook.
I don't know if it's the way you said it, but.
No, it's what I meant, though. It is what I meant.
Some people you just, you know.
Yeah, you have to be careful. So then you want us to consider this and come up with some thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful,
next
cause I have something that will go into that really well. And I'll go ahead and I'll start into that, cause we're gonna be done here in just a minute. My friends, what I've given you is what I call a, shack priorities. Didn't have a better word for it. What it is I want you to consider looking at these 4 areas: nutrition, physical education, counseling and social services, that's mental health, and physical health services. These are I grabbed just a few thoughts of what could be examples in this category that we currently do. So currently, child nutrition, we offer universal breakfast and lunch. We have snacks after school for academics. Am I correct, Michelle? And we have kid-friendly nutritional options. By that, they have smiley face fries. There are all kinds of little goodies that are kid-friendly but still meet the guidelines. I don't want to butcher what the names are. So if you want to add what the names of some of those things are.
Well, the smiley fries are actually made from mashed potatoes, so it's kind of a play on that to try to, the nutrition policy, you know, they've relaxed it as far as on the potatoes, which is, thank goodness, cause it used to be where it was just
Yeah,
one time, you know,
and you got 4 french fries.
Yeah.
yes, well, you know, the portion size is half a cup, so it's a little bit more than that. They've increased that instead of like 2-3 ounces, so we're up to 4.
They might get full.
And we can offer them more often, which is a great thing, so.
So these are just 3 things that I pulled out of the air, literally, about how some of the things that we offer in child nutrition. What I would like for you to do is think about any needs, or think about things that you've seen, or just some wild hair idea that you have that we could consider for next year. In child nutrition, in physical education, for example, we have recess at elementaries and primary, which I think is a very good thing. I'm a very big proponent of that. We have a variety of clubs and activities. I'm working with some teachers now who want to start an archery club. I love it because it's diversifying. Not everybody will play the major sports, if you will. And then it's also a graduation requirement. Dr. Walker, I'm expecting you to give me some good meat in this section. And then I asked for possible collaborators, because if you know of something, someone, some organization that could possibly partner with us in this, I want you to let me know, because I'll do the footwork. So also in counseling, the district has an LSSP, and we have counselors on each campus. And then social groups are done with students, meaning we have a group of little fellas that don't have good social skills at the middle school. They have group settings where they talk about what's socially appropriate and what's not. Going up and grabbing hair is not socially appropriate, you know. So, and then finally, in health services, currently we have 2 RNs in the district. We have 5 LVNs, so we have health services on each campus. They also, just as Nurse Whitney mentioned, make referrals to students, and we host vaccination clinics. That's nowhere near exhaustive, but just some ideas that might spark your thinking as to some things that we could do next year, or maybe some things you'd like to see us implement. Now, I won't hold you hostage with the sheet of paper, but I do want you to either send me your thoughts, email, even if you just say, I don't know at this time. I mean, I want to know that you at least give it some thought for me. Because this has the potential to do some great, impactful things, this group. And so I would really like for you to take your time to kind of think about it.
So like under this counseling, psychological, social, are you wanting like ideas of other ways we could
Yes, ma'am.
help benefit
Exactly.
the children in that area?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
My son works for Community Health Court, he's a mental health counselor, so I thought I might talk with him. And
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. That's exact. I'm counting on Dr. Walker because that's his area of expertise. He's written text for the state and reviewed. I'm expecting that you're gonna help me out. I'm just saying. So I thank you in advance. But that's the kind of thing that we're looking for.
Okay.
Dink, you have a whole different perspective because you got the application.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everything's good in theory until you have to put it down. So that's what I'm kind of looking for. Okay.
I know in Child Nutrition, we're gonna roll out some, healthy vending machines, so that's on our student body got a petition together
Oh.
to see, vending machines.
Where? I didn't know
At the
this.
high school,
I love it.
Democracy in action, there
I
you go.
love it.
Mr. Wadley, presented it to me.
I
and,
loved it.
I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do.
Look
So,
at that, self-advocacy.
there's-
I'm telling you.
There's different companies that will come in and do that, but they take all the profit. Well, that's
Yeah,
not what we
That's
want,
what we used
because
to
we
have,
wanna
yeah.
keep that
We used to do that
here.
kind of system.
And
Yeah.
for our students, so, I'm looking into the purchase, and Mr. Davenport he's gonna let me start with one.
Mhm.
So, Mr. Wadley's supposed to get with the students about where the
That
best first
is
location
phenomenal.
is. So, I was excited that the kids took an initiative
Ownership of it,
Mhm.
yeah.
to come up with it and say, okay, then present it to the principal, and then he brought it to me, and I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do. Of course, I had to find some
Well, I
money.
think the principal deserves kudos for allowing the students and to push it on up,
Mhm.
because a lot of times they would've just been, no, we ain't messing with that, and squashed it, so.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
give
I
him
told him, I said,
kudos
you
for
just tell them, we're working on it,
listening to the kids.
I was able
Yeah.
to, it's a collaboration, cause you have to go up, it's like, okay, I can do it, okay, now I need to find the money to pay for it, to try to bring it together,
To make it
so.
reality. I love it.
So that's one thing, and if it goes over well, then we'll be, increasing our vending machines around the campuses, so the kids will have access to healthy snacks, at any
Throughout
time
the day.
during the, hopefully we can get with the teachers and everybody that will be okay for the kids bringing those items in.
Because you have passing period,
Mhm.
and that'd be the only time they would purchase is during passing period.
Mhm.
That would-
Correct, so I'm excited about that, so
I am too. That's cool.
I just gotta find somebody to be able to work on them, that's one of my,
To be able to do what?
to work
Oh,
on
to
the
work on the
service,
machines?
Mhm.
yeah, to service the machines,
It's
that's,
been a long time.
So have you already found a machine to purchase?
well, I can purchase them through Sam's,
Oh, okay.
because I did some research trying to find, the closest one was Dallas-Fort Worth area or out of state. So, who knew you could just order
Yeah.
'em from Sam's and they would bring them in. I'm like, okay, now I just need to find somebody that can work on them for me if they happen to go down.
Mhm.
We won't do credit cards, we're not gonna get into that yet, we're just gonna do strictly cash, because that opens up another can of worms, so, but.
Typical. Dr. Walker had a question for you, Mr. Irving.
Okay, I don't know how to phrase it exactly. It came out of talking about child nutrition and parents coming on campus and potentially sharing food not only with their own kids, but everybody else's kids. And I was just wondering, like, general opinion on parents coming in and spending time with their kid, and even that saying it that way doesn't sound right. But, like, for you, from a security standpoint, is there a negative to having extra parents there during, especially lunchtimes? Obviously, they all go through Raptor. They're going to be screened and so
Right.
on.
Okay, I don't know that I fully understand your question. Are you concerned?
I'm not sure that I fully understand my question.
May I try?
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, please.
He's wanting to know if there's, and correct me, if the security concern of having all these parents come in during lunch outweighs, the benefit of having the parents available to come in at lunch.
Yes.
And what's your
Part of
opinion?
that security bit would be the potential of them bringing in something that might cause an allergic reaction, et cetera, with other
I'm
kids.
concerned about them coming in and bringing food and sharing it
Yes.
with anyone other than their child.
Okay.
Excuse me, let me just turn this off.
There you go. That's
Uh,
what I was trying to ask.
But there's not a security risk with the parents being there per
No.
se? That's-
Not as long as it's not as long as it's with their, as far as I'm concerned, not as long as it's with their children
Or grandchildren?
and it's structured, or grandchildren, and it's pre-planned, you know, it's structured.
Yeah.
Because that's a high point in a lot of kids, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I know I went and had lunch with my kids, you probably did yours, didn't you? Especially when they're young,
Yeah.
they like to show you off. When
Yeah,
they're
it's a treat,
old, when
yeah.
they're older in
They
junior
don't
high,
want you
middle school, and high school, they don't want you there. But I am somewhat concerned about sharing the food, yes. Because they're not serving the same type of food that Michelle serves. Yours is better, by the way.
Thank you.
Oh, hot dog debate.
Now, we'll tell you, what, a week ago, we went over and had pizza with all the kids. But it was special pizza from our cafeteria. And it was in personal pan boxes. And it came from our cafeteria, it was ordered by our cafeteria staff. And of course, I didn't have to beg too much for extra cheese and extra pepperoni. They took care of us on that. But it was a reward system for the kids.
Yes.
For our exemplary riders on the bus. That's staff, that's a little bit different. But everything we did originated at the cafeteria. I don't know if that answers your
No,
question.
it does. Me?
I wouldn't want my child taking something edible from anybody
Yeah.
that I don't
No.
know,
Yeah.
beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I think when they get home and say, hey, by the way, Mom, you know, one of my friend's mom and dad came up here and brought blah, and we had it, we ate it. You know, the first thing I'd be thinking of is, what exactly was in it? Who gave permission to you to do that? Because when I sent my child to school, my child gets a free lunch. And I have to assume that when my child gets to the cafeteria, Michelle's gonna feed them. Because that's what she's hired to do.
Or they're gonna eat the lunch that they brought from home.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I bring my lunch quite often, sometimes even on Mondays. That's a joke at that. But that's just kinda the way I feel about it. And I think the principals do too. I'm not, do you know of a problem we've had with that?
No, that's what we're talking about.
It sparked out of a conversation, previously.
That I was tardy for?
Well, it's not your fault. I put 5:30 on the agenda, and I remember at our first meeting we had changed, and so this is my fault,
So I'm half an hour late.
and it's my fault.
I'm sorry, I'm so sorry.
And I told them, you had no,
That's
that,
okay,
I know.
Dr. Baxter was late too.
Well, we had one of our buses broke down, we had to get some kids off the side of the road.
Oh, well, that took precedence. Actually, you have the floor now, Mr. Irvin, if you'd like to give us a brief update on safety and security. at the
I am
college.
so excited. We are meeting Monday at our admin council meeting we have every week. And we're going to be blocking out some time on January the 3rd to meet with our assistant principals and our principals concerning our student threat assessment program. You know, the Senate Bill 11 put a lot of different requirements on us as school districts, and one of those requirements is that to identify, especially, we've talked about it for a few months, but what I guess puts the exclamation point is when we see a child struggling, how we can prevent siloing of information, because that's always a concern of mine. You know, everybody's got a piece of information about a particular child that a child may be in struggling. And looking at what happened up in Michigan, I think puts an exclamation point too, because there's so many things.
That went wrong.
Right. But when we have an event, whether it be a fire drill, or whether we have a lockdown drill like we had over at Burke's this morning, or the gas leak back in September, you know, we always do an assessment afterwards, an after action assessment to say, okay, what went right, because something always went right, hopefully, but what went wrong, and what could have got done better, and how can we structure ourselves, because I think if we don't do that, we're missing a mark on getting better, which is what we want to do. Well, I also do those on events that happen outside our school districts, you know, what ifs, you know, if I was in that district, what could I have done different? And I know you guys probably do the same thing, and it brings about a lot of different questions. But one of the things that we really are focused on, and we'll focus more on with the principals, assistant principals in January the 3rd, is how we bring that wheel full circle to involve not only teachers, custodians, counseling services, assistant principals, where everybody's feeding information in concerning a particular child that they've seen something that really caused them concern, so we can get counseling services involved a whole lot quicker. So I'm kind of excited about that. We also, and can't go into grave detail, December 20th, I think that's a Monday.
Yes.
21st and 22nd, we're going to be doing some additional training for 3 additional guardians that we're looking at. So we're looking to expand the guardian program. Can't go into any more detail with y'all than that, but we are looking at, and these folks we're looking at from a strategical point of view, placements, because that's really important to our guardian program. You know, to have guardians in one campus and in one hallway in one campus doesn't make a lot of sense. Something else that we've done, you may have noticed that in all the entrances to our district property, we've got additional signage that's been put up. You know, when we came up with open carry, it created a whole different array of problems, because the only signage that we really had was 30.06 and 30.07, which is concealed carry. Well, when Texas became open carry, those signs don't apply. So what it ended up doing is it ended up creating a loophole for a defense argument to where a perpetrator could walk in cases like that. So if you look around at all the entrances to our property, you're going to see 2 additional signs. And those signs are very specific and targeted for no guns on the property without the express written consent of the board of trustees. We also are going to go ahead and put the 30-6, 30-7 signs up at the front entrances, so, bunches of signs, I'll tell you that, but we've almost got it completed. The only, 2 signs that were left out was going into the student parking lot at Pine Tree High School, and it was because they really, with all the construction over there, we didn't know a good fit, a placement for them, and it looks like we mounted those, and they may have been mounted today, actually, because I met on that this morning early. They may have been already mounted on the guard shack, which I think is a very appropriate place. So what I'm trying to do is close any loopholes since the open carry law went into effect.
Would you mind mentioning about the construction over at the high school?
Ugly.
Yeah.
I know you know it, I know, but I promise you,
To put in
if you've ever lived in South Austin, it's nothing. What we're dealing with is nothing compared to what those people deal with. It's gonna, progress always has a price. And if we just hang in there and keep communicating, I send lots of communications out to the high school and the administrative team on closures. They happen frequently. The most recent one has been the student parking lot. We closed off the entrance to the student parking lot, had to open up the area by the theater. What they're doing over there now, they've already poured the south side, which is the eastbound lane, but what they had to do is they had to put in underground storm drainage. But to do that, they had to systematically start closing entrances to our property. Unfortunately, where we're at now, which I'll probably have more information for everybody tomorrow, is our next attack is going to be the entrance to the teacher's parking lot.
Well, that's gonna be bad.
No, it's not. It's not.
Have you met our no, I'm kidding.
You're talking about the one off?
I've got a plan, and that's exactly it. We're gonna turn the outlet only into 2-way traffic, in and out, and shut down the entrance off of Fairmont.
Okay.
It'll only be for one day. It'll be okay. I know it's tough, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be nice when it
It's
gets
gonna be
done.
worth it.
It's just getting through it. There's going to be some other random closures. We have arm wrestled with the city over, how do you pour the entrance going into the student parking lot? And it looks like we're gonna take 1/4 bites at a time.
Okay.
So, it's just gonna be
It's
messy.
gonna be
but
messy for 'em.
We've been really trying hard to send out maps and send out, have you been getting those too, Deacon?
Oh.
I've been trying to send that stuff out. I think Cleo's probably
Just
sending.
forwarded it.
Shop-
Yeah.
good luck.
And it's on the it's on the website.
Yeah, send it to Mary too,
It's
to
on the
try to
website.
keep everybody up to date. I think it's a little easier as long as we keep posting those. And it's, as long as the information is coming from one location, so that seems to work well for us so far. Unfortunately, I do not expect completion of the project this school year. I'm hoping it's completed before the start of the 22-23 school year. That sounds terrible,
I
doesn't
know.
it? 22-23
Already.
already. But, it's gonna be okay. They're not gonna just shut us down completely. Well, unless they hit another water line and then Dinkins can't take a
Is the
shower.
road
his
actually
kids
being widened?
Not much. Not much, but, the driving surface is going to be a whole lot better, and the concrete they're pouring is a whole lot better than the asphalt they had. Lot less maintenance.
Now, when
They're
they
really
close
doing a
those-
good job.
When they close those entrances, that concrete, when it's poured, it has to sit for
7 days.
7 days. Okay, I thought it was like 21 days.
No, they reach about, I think 75 or 78% break
Okay.
at 7 days.
Okay.
To completely cure is about 21 days.
I'm sorry, that's what I thought, you couldn't drive on it during that whole curing process.
No,
But that's good.
that's why they're gonna have to do the student entrance and quarters.
Okay, yeah.
And also they're gonna have to do the intersection of Northwest and Fairmont quarters, you know, so that we can continue operating. They have been very open with us. I talk to them all the time, usually a couple times a week, and I get invited to all their meetings. Some of them are just more or less consulting with the contractor, change orders, things like that, things that they ran into the field. But overall, they've really worked hard to be a good neighbor to us, I think.
Can I ask you just real quick, cause I've had someone ask me about this, on the Guardian program?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the, and I think you touched on this before, but I couldn't remember, what is the process that people go through? Are they trained by people from Pine Tree, or is it
No, ma'am.
outside? Okay,
Uh,
and do they go, I'm assuming they go through the whole, like, if you were to go get your concealed carry, and you have to go to the gun range and
Even
those
more.
kind of things?
I'm glad you asked.
Even more.
I'm really glad you asked, because even though we now have constitutional carry in Texas, our Board of Trustees has approved and adopted the plan that calls for someone to have a license to carry. I think it's important to me, because I know at least their base training going in.
Sure. You don't want someone that has never handled a gun, obviously, so.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and a lot of what they do in the LTC classes is safety,
Mhm.
which is important, obviously. We also have, we do drug and alcohol screens, pre-service screens. We do physicals, we do psych evaluations. We have a psychologist we send them to. We use Defense Articulations. That's the company that we use, the trainer that we use. He trains a lot of school districts around the area. It was a pretty good class. Usually when we did that, we spend 1 full day in the classroom, 2 full days in the field. Generally, a trainee in training will shoot 500, 600, 700 rounds.
Oh, wow.
We also, our board agreed that, to have a weapon, to qualify, to go through the training, and then to set the weapon down and never touch it again, is not good business. We provide 200 rounds a year. We give each guardian 100 rounds before school starts, which I did, and we'll be giving 100 rounds more to each guardian before next Friday. And our objective is that we continue that process. We will also have training this summer for our guardians. The objective there is that we continue as a team working together and responding. My goal is to involve our SROs this year. Yeah, because I'd like to have that connection with law enforcement.
Do we have a shooting range that everybody has access to, or do they just go to wherever they want to go?
A lot of people have a shooting range that they're members of. I can't tell you that I do. I go out to my yard.
I was about to say, you just go to the back.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to know that I am one, I guess. I blew that, didn't I?
I think
think
it was just,
everybody
assumed
yeah,
that.
yeah, I mean.
Theoretically, you could have just been talking about target shooting in your
Yeah,
own time.
yeah.
I'm sorry?
You could have just been talking about target shooting on your own time. I
Exactly.
assume that's what you meant.
Yeah,
We have a lot of overachievers. The district provides 200 rounds a year, on their own. I generally shoot that every 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I shoot a lot.
Well, thank you for that information, because I knew there was a lot that the district had, but I wasn't real sure on how much was involved, so that's good to know. I'm a big advocate for the Guardian program, but I'm glad to know we have gone above and beyond.
Well, let me tell you something you may not know. Probably our best shooter is a female.
Which is not a surprise.
And it's really not, because they're patient.
Yeah.
But, yeah, we've got some really talented people, but we also got some very, very intelligent and very calm people. We got some good folks.
Oh, yeah.
We really do. That are in the
My license to carry.
program. Do what?
I said, I know you're talking about, I did my license to carry with her. Yeah, she's very well trained.
Any last questions for Ms. Sargent? Any announcements or anything we need to discuss before we close? Our next meeting, my friends, is on March the 10th. I ask that you would please take a little time to think about some things that we could do to improve our services to students. And if you think about things we can improve for adult staff members, throw that in there too. Okay?
And it's at 5.
And it is at 5. Thank you.
Y'all have a Merry Christmas.
Oh, 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 you.
Y'all have a